Wow. Salutations, everybody. I, again, came sliding into home base making this stream work today. Man, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. All kinds of stuff happened right now. The last, like, 2 hours have been, like, some of the most hectic hours I've had all week. So I start up OBS. OBS is the software I use to stream. It's a little sausage making, I apologize. And yes, Carlos Maximiliano Rodriguez Gonzalez, hello, you say me hi in the video, please. I say you hi, you're right there, bud. Yeah, I see you. Oh, right on, watching the Olympics and me at the same time. Well, you know, there's one thing, I'm not a follower of the sports of any kind, so this will work out perfectly. So I get OBS started up, which is my streaming software, get everything working, and I realize, like, none of my clips are there. None of my images are available. Notice how I've got this really janky thing that says Hashnasi up there and what frequency I'm monitoring. Everything was gone. Turns out that at least 2 of my hard drives that I use for stuff stopped working. I don't know if it's the cradle that I use. I don't know if it's the drive itself. I tried to swap things out really quick. No bueno. Real bad. real bad. So yeah, that's where we're at there. And what just happened to my notes? And my stream notes are all gone. So that's wonderful. I don't know what happened. Wow, we're having a tough day, guys. I'm telling you what. Can I just paste this back in there? No, of course not. That's not how it's going to work at all. Well, that's a bummer. Anyway, let's talk about some just some notes before we get started about today's topic. Today's topic is QRP radio, and actually I got this really cool set of slides from a guy named Bill, who's a member of the club that I sometimes attend, W6TRW. Yep, the club that does the swap meet, the one that we're going to tomorrow, the one where there is a meetup. That is the Bill that produced these slides. So, reminder for said swap meet, it is tomorrow. Starts at 7 a.m. Testing begins at 9 a.m. I will most likely be there around 9 a.m. So if anybody is interested in coming on down and maybe taking their testing, that would be a good time to do it. Okay, I am Brew Crew. Thanks for the beer today. I really need this beer. We're doing Golden Road Ride On IPA, which I believe is a 6.7% IPA. And fun note, what I'm going to start doing for the Brew Crew is I'm going to start compiling a list of all the beers that I review on chat, and I'll make that available to those on the Patreon Brew Crew. So if you're a part of that group, go check that out. Anyway, the link is in the description if you're interested in Patreon. That'd be cool if you check that out. Okay. Whew, man. Okay. Got a hello from Mexico. Good night. Can't see the transmission. Oh. Everybody tell me that you're getting my transmission. It looks like it's good on my end. We've got a lot of people watching right now, so I appreciate that. Hope everything's good, showing up. So yeah, remember, we've got, you can't see the transmission. Refresh your screen, please. So we'll have the swap meet tomorrow. Classes tomorrow. Very cool. I will be walking around looking for deals, as I always do. The newsletter is going to be going out at the end of the month also for the patrons. And if you are interested in voting on the topics that I talk about, go join the Facebook group, Ham Radio Crash Course. I'll put up a poll usually before these streams where I get an idea of what you guys want to hear. I was going to talk about some antenna, like some nitty-gritty antenna details for the HT review that I did, the Baofeng antenna review. But everybody seemed really interested in this QRP presentation, so we're going to do that. Cool? Good evening. Hey, Memphis. Carrie's in the room here. What's up, Carrie? Cheers to you. Thank you. Also, side note, I am monitoring 3.747.000. That would be 80 meters. Let's see if there's anybody on there. Just static and noise. That's fine. So I'm just going to... 82% battery power on the Zygu. I'm not on an external battery right now, so it's running off the internal battery. So far, still really like the Zygu. Man, I gotta tell you what, I've been playing with it pretty much every day. I actually bring it with me in the car. I hook it up to my little... If you're not following me on Instagram, you're not going to see some of these pictures, by the way. Hashnasi on Instagram. I have a little ham stick, 20-meter ham stick, that I connect to this little Zygu, and I listen to CW all the way to work and the way home. That way I can kind of try and copy CW. I'm good at transmitting CW. I'm not so great at copying CW. A lot of people have that problem. In fact, when I've got something coming up. Some of the nice folks at MFJ might be hooking us up with some stuff that I may be able to do a CW kind of class and possibly have some cool CW giveaways. So I hope that comes through. Should know more about that next week or the following week. Hello from Malaysia. Hello from Ohio. So far, Carlos, you seem to be the only one that's not seeing this. And when you say transmission, do you mean the video? I hope everybody sees my video, right? Can I get a thumbs up? I still haven't got a thumbs up that people are seeing this. Carlos seems to not be having a pretty big issue. Yeah. Yeah, you got to refresh, man. Okay, good. Hopefully that sorts itself out. So anyway, cheers, everybody, again. I had an incredible... Oh, this is going to run long, by the way. I have a feeling this whole thing's going to run long. That's fine. We're going to go as long as it takes to get through all the slides, but a lot of good topics, and I'll try and answer the questions as they come, and we can also do an end questionnaire Q&A as it comes up. But man, ears, nose, and throat doctor had that today. I may have to go have surgery. Hi from Palmdale. Ham Radio Outlet has the FT-70DR on sale, cheaper than Amazon. Dude, that's a good deal. Andy, what's up? Ray's in the house. Picked up the FT-79 at Gigaparts this weekend. Awesome. All clear? Okay, lots of thumbs up. Okay, good. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Okay. So it turns out I was completely right. This plugged up area was an actual blockage, and they may have to go in there and roto-rooter that thing out. Surgically, of course, not the way I would have done it with a paddle bit and an impact driver. Okay, so what is the... Wait, I'm fresh out of beer. Yeah, sorry, man. Sorry, again, Golden Road, right on IPA, and I've got a Stone Exalted IPA behind that, and I will compile all these beers and put them online for the Brew Crew. So thanks to the Brew Crew again for funding the beers. Okay, so one more thing before we go. This is actually kind of cool. So in my Zygu review, I mentioned the FT-870 by Yaesu, and I just got an email from Gigaparts. Yaesu is updating the 817, and they're relabeling it the 818. For all intents and purposes, it looks physically the same as the 817. The price is going up like a whopping $200, though, on retail, which is pretty high for that radio. That's pretty high. I gotta be honest. Whatever, you know, if you're an 817 guy, let's talk about what they've upgraded. So what do we got? Features. So all these things that say new, that's what they did, right? So they increased the power to 6 watts instead of 5 watts. 1 watt, not that big of a deal. I think they tried to do that to get to the 2 AM carrier. I don't know why you need that, but okay. Improved frequency stability. 0.5 parts per million, built-in TCX09. Somebody that knows that can go ahead and comment. I don't know what that means. And it has a larger capacity battery, now 9.6 volts at 1900 milliamp hours. That's still, I think, half of the Zygu. Half of the Zygu. And it's $200 more. No, yeah, I agree, Ice Bomb. I don't think it does justify the price. So here's an interesting idea. I'm brand agnostic. I will go with any company that provides me the features that I'm looking for. I'm not a loyalist when it comes to anything like that. Nothing like that. This is good for one thing, for people who want to buy a used 817. If you want a used 817, then this new 6-watt model is good for you, because people might sell their old one and go with the 17, or the prices may drop on the 17s that already exist because you've got the 8. Ooh, excuse me. So you got a lot of options if you're looking for QRP. And again, I know I said in the last video, don't really recommend QRP for your first HF radio. Not to say that it wasn't mine, because it was. I had access to use lots of standard HF radios, so I figured I'll just go with a QRP, and I'll have that on me all the time, and if I need something 100 watts, 50 watts, whatever, I'll just go use one of those. Worked fine, because I've been a member of clubs since I was licensed, which also very important. Everybody go see if you can find a club in your area. At least go check out a meeting. No pressure to join. Just Go check them out. See if you like them. Okay, without further ado, QRP by Bill W6QR. This was, I think he keeps this thing updated, which is pretty awesome. So, there's an interesting kind of layout for how Bill did these slides, so I'll do them as best as I can. He's got a much cooler, calmer tone, good Elmer voice when he does these. So, what he's basically saying with this slide is, HF played a critical role in recent disasters. What he means is, breaking it down, VHF, UHF is kind of considered tactical comms. Tactical versus strategic. Tactical comms are if you have a whole group of people or some number of people and most of their radios are keyed up the same, just like I talked about in my MCOM videos. Then you can communicate important on-the-ground information. You're reporting the status of the ground. How are things? Who is hurt? What is needed? What is lacking? What is broken? What needs fixed? The HF is kind of like how you handle the strategy and the logistics of bringing the help in or getting the people who need help out, transferring long-distance comms, family notifications, supply requests, medical requests. That's kind of the job of HF. And in a lot of cases, as he mentions in the second to last bullet there, most of the time HF comm can be done with low power, and it'll work in a crisis situation because you really don't have to go that far distance-wise. You just need to get out of a disaster zone, right? So recent disasters, perfect for QRP. It's nice too because, hold on. So in a lot of cases, you can have a QRP box, like this Pelican box here, you know, not much bigger than, well, bigger than my head a bit, but you can put your QRP radio in here with a throwy antenna, length of wire to throw up into a tree, your key and your mic, and you're good to go. So, you know. Okay, QRP overview. QRP is a Q signal. People used to use Q signals in CW, or they still use Q signals, but it used to mean it was a question and a statement. Either lower your power, you have too much power, you're taking up too much space on the band, and we need you to lower it down because you're already making your comm, which again, going back to technician, what's one of the questions? You only need as much power to make your contact. You shouldn't be always blowing it out at 100 watts. You should have that way down and then go up as you need it. Oh, we got some people that passed their test. John, New Tech, got his call sign extra awesome. John Hayes, aka the Hayes. I like that name. That's good. Congratulations. Okay. So once upon a time, when the QRP ARCI decided to have 5 watts as their low power, QRP standard became synonymous with operating 5 watts. That just means that at some point they set up an erroneous thing of 5 watts. Hey, QRP is 5 watts. Okay. Basically, now that's changed a bit, which I think he might cover it a bit. Yeah, he does. 5 watts is kind of like QRP CW. 5 watts is also QRP, or sometimes the only radio you can have in some nations. So it's kind of a universal 5 watts. There's not really a rhyme or reason to it. It's just the way it is. Bit of history. World War II, people used to take World War II surplus radios and they'd make them, modify them for use. Lots of kits, kit building. So when QRP was kind of starting out, people were building kits mainly, and they were modifying radios that already existed in the case of these military radios. And they would go out there with garbage, marginal antennas, and just do what they could. So it was like a generation of radio MacGyvers growing up in this time. And that's what Dan's saying. Dan, right? No, Bill. Sorry, Bill. He was licensed in 1960, which was the time when people were, you know, salvaging radios and stuff like that. So, mentioned kits. Kits were readily available, even before the 90s. And there, look at that bottom right-hand corner, Yaesu FT-818. Oh, I want a quick go back, too. It is not a 30-year-old radio. It's almost 20 years. Sorry, I was using some Elmer information and didn't check on it, so... I don't want to besmirch the Yaesu, although it doesn't matter if it's 30 years, 20 years. It doesn't matter. It's a great radio. It's still great. I'm not at all saying anything bad about it. Basically, key point here is that a lot of things were kits. People were modifying stuff, working, building on their own stuff. People seem to have a little bit more radio prowess back then. today, the gateway drug of radio, as most of you in the chat know, is HTs, Baofangs, commercial, boxed, handhelds. We don't build kits anymore, right? The kit building is kind of like relegated to HF land. And you can go check out some of my videos on kit building. I've done a couple of kits. We may do kits in the future if people get more interested in Dan says, I built a Heath Kit 16 and had a straight wire in 72. Very cool. I'm going to turn the radio down just so I don't blast myself out. Yeah, so kit building is kind of alive and well in QRP. Maybe I'll post some links to some kits that you can buy off eBay, like $12 QRP radio kits. Do it for the fun of building. Don't do it because you're going to make contacts with it, because it's very difficult. A lot of text here. This is not what we're doing with the text. But anyway, the two companies historically that were very popular were Tech and Heathkit. Dan just mentioned Heathkit. Very important. You may even see, if you come out to the swap meet tomorrow, you may even see some Heathkit radio, some Tech stuff, some built stuff, some kits. And so the point here is he's mentioning that as people started graduating from kit building in QRP, people started going portable. Right, they started using the 817. They started using other devices to go out there. Summits on the air is mentioned, and people are like, "Yeah, I'm not really going to do kits anymore. I'm going to focus on buying top quality stuff." And that's where people like Elecraft, the Elecraft company, came out in 1998. They started out with really nice kits, but the kits were like super difficult to build, and now they make one of the most expensive, two of the most expensive QRP radios on the market. Very great, very expensive. So why would we want to do QRP now that we got that fun history lesson out of the way? Is everybody good? History's good? Good? Okay, test is going to be next week. Carter Vlogs is taking the ham test tomorrow at the local ham fest. Good luck, good luck, good luck. I hope you do very well. So why QRP? Well, it always comes back to you only need as much power to make the contact as necessary. 5 watts is 2 S units down from 100 watts. 2 S units. So if we say S9, you're at an S7, F6.5, F7, maybe F7.5, depending on your antenna. And that's perfectly fine to do CW all day with. Portable operation, you can go off of batteries. You can homebrew a lot of accessories, antennas, your whole backpack kit going outdoors. There's emergency communications. I like the stealth. I like that stealth bullet. I really like the stealth aspect of QRP, because you can, in a lot of ways, you can go to a park and you kind of go to a secluded area and you can throw an antenna and you could rock a little stealthy thing. And if you're out doing soda or something on a hike, beautiful. Digital modes don't require power, a lot of power at all. That's true. Again, on my Instagram, I've been showing some Whisper stuff. I've been showing some FT-8. Got FT-8 working on the X5105, and I'll show you what I'm using to work FT-8. I can take this little netbook. I don't know how old this thing is. Over 10 years old. This Dell Mini 9 running Ubuntu. I run only one application. I don't need the internet. I connect this to my X5105. And I'm digital. I just did a bunch of contacts across the country a couple nights ago. Awesome. And all via this, like, just QRP fun stuff, you know, make my own little cable. Easy. Last point, budget reasons. QRP is a lot cheaper to get into in HF. It is a challenge, and it's funny. He mentions challenge, the fourth bullet up, as why you might want to do QRP. It's also one of the reasons why you shouldn't do QRP. So you really have to understand who you are as a person, as I mentioned in the Zygu video. So, oop, what did I just do? Don't mind that. White Water Tuber. I'm enjoying being a listener. I program my radios with TX off. I see a few quad band radios. How do you tune an antenna set SWR for quad band radio? Thanks in advance. So Whitewater Tuber, that would depend on what you mean by quad band. You could mean like the TYT 9800 or the Yaesu 9800, which is a quad band FM 6 meter, 10 meter, 2 meter, and 70 centimeter. If that's the case, you need to have an antenna that's specifically designed for those bands. I have that antenna on my Nissan Xterra, and it works fine. The only problem is you don't really want to do 6 meter and 10 meter FM, so your mileage will vary. Whitewater tuber. Oh, the radio only has antenna jack. Yeah, so you're tuning the radio and you're picking an antenna. I'm sorry, you're picking an antenna and tuning the antenna for the appropriate frequencies you want to work on. And you're going to do better at some, you're going to do worse at others. So, all right, continuing on. What do you do with QRP? There's contesting. We talked about contesting a little bit, DXing. So contesting and DXing, they're similar, but they're different. A contest is usually a period of time where you're tasked with getting the most amount of contacts possible. And they can have things like CW, low power, outdoors, and there'll be, not outdoors specifically, but you will get perks if you operate off of battery or solar or outdoors, off the grid. So some people, groups of people will sometimes have a QRP station so they can get those bonus points. DXing, again, can be good for QRP, probably for the activating station being QRP is probably going to be better than trying to DX with a QRP. And what I mean specifically is if you are the person that's going to the far-flung location that people want to make contacts with, yeah, QRP is great. People will bend over backwards to get the contacts from you, and you'll be handling a pile-up with a little QRP radio, and you'll be loving life if that's your thing. Soda, we mentioned, Summit's on the air. Great to have a hiking kit. You know, let me pull it up again. Yeah, Whitewater, if you want to clarify that point, if you meant 4 bands in terms of QRP, HF, or if you mean VHF stuff, just need to clarify what you mean there. So, backpacking radio, you know, MFJ 9200. You can still find these. You can find them used. That's, you know, tiny. Bigger than a deck of cards, but it's still totally usable. And you've got an internal battery pack in this one, but you may need an external if you don't want to do the update. And you just throw some wire in a tree, and that's it. Have fun on radio. Recommend you learn CW. This is a CW only radio. Bicycling, QRP bicycling. I would not disparage anybody who wants to QRP on a bicycle, but I've never done that. Field day, of course. Field day. Once a year, every year, we go outdoors and we work in the field. That's what it means, field day. And we try to work lots of... And so if you join a ham radio club, you're going to be able to get more access to field day fun. You know, they're going to have more stations. They're going to be operating more bands. They're going to be more people. It's going to be more of an organized thing. You're going to have a lot more fun. So field day QRP is great. If it's just you, sure. Join a club. Bring your radio. You'll learn a lot. Carter Vlogs asks, can the technician do HF? Absolutely you can. It's CW mainly only though on the HF on the technician, so keep that in mind. Travel, sure. Camping, hiking, travel, kind of all the same thing to me. So some of this got cut off. I apologize. I had to work some things to make this all work, but so the recommended, what Bill recommends is you simply take, if you want to try QRP, you simply take, yeah, Tech can do 6 meters as well. Thanks, John Hayes. You take your 100 watt radio, your standard desktop radio, and you just power it down to 5 watts. Try it out. And that gives you a pretty good idea of what QRP is like. It's difficult. It's really hard. And then you have the Zygoos, the Yaesu 817s, and the KX3s and KX2s that are commercial radios, and then kits, which would be your Rockmite. eBay, if you go on eBay and you type in QRP radio, I will try to remember to pull one down. You know, you can buy ones that are this big, they fit in an Altoids tin, and they run on a 9-volt battery. They're maybe putting out 1 watt, though, so keep that in mind. Here's a great example of a 9-volt radio. This is a LNR mountain topper. LNR is the maker of the other QRP radio I have. In hindsight being 2020, I should have bought a mountain topper. I would have saved about $200 or $150 just by going with the mountain topper instead of the LD5, which I'm not a big fan of. The mountain topper is a CW only radio, but still great. It's called a mountain topper for a reason. It's for going outside and throwing a wire in a tree and operating. Okay, so you got a transceiver and you want to do QRP for the reasons we stated above. And what are you going to do? You're mainly going to operate 40 meters at night and 20 meters during the day. And there's a couple of logistic reasons for that. And there's also propagation reasons. And there's also population reasons. So logistics reasons. The louder the meters are, the longer the meters are, the longer your antenna needs to be, or the more special your antenna needs to be. And that becomes difficult. And the longer your antenna, sometimes the more noise you're going to have and introduce in the radio. QRP radios don't do so great on like 160 meters, for example. 40 meters is kind of an all-time band, but it's best at night. 20 meters is great at day. And a nice little 20-meter antenna could take up just a couple of feet of, well, not, let me be specific, 20s of feet, close to 30 feet. But with it, you can work all over 20 meter. What modes? CWs you're going to be your go-to. I would actually put digital above single sideband for those that have that capability with a little laptop like mine. And then you got single sideband. But, you know, there's a reason it's ranked in the way it is. Just as he says, how much power do you want? Single sideband needs higher power, right? Plus 15 to 20 dB. QRP can be very frustrating. CW goes better over QRP with lower power than single sideband does. Got a lot of chat. Let me catch up to the chat here. Whitewater asks, Quadband, quad standby, 4-color screen. Oh, he's talking about a radio? VHF, UHF, FM. Yep, that's a radio. Radiodity QB25 Pro Quad Band Mobile. Yeah, I'm going to guess that that's an FM mobile radio. So it's going to be 70 centimeter, 2 meter, 6 meter, and 10 meter. And it's going to be all FM. Okay. Continuing on, for your transceivers, is weight an issue? It should be, particularly if you're going to be doing SOTA, if you're going to be going out, if you're going to be hiking, walking, you know, that's important. Weight becomes a budget item. Power becomes a budget item. Antennas become a budget item. They're all something that you can do cheap. You just won't be as effective, right? So take that mountaintop with a 9-volt battery. You're not going to put out 5 watts with that. So it's light. You can carry a lot of 9 volts, but you're going to have a more difficult time. My Bio-NO battery pack. Bio-NO battery pack right here, right? This is a great battery pack. Sorry, it's got a green. 12 volts. It's a 6 amp hour battery. 72 watt hours. It's light. It's very lightweight because it's the lithium polymer LiFePO. This thing was like $80. It's not cheap at all. 9 volts are cheap. NiCad lead acid batteries. One over here. Hold on. This is roughly the same size as my Bio-NO battery, and it's also 3 to 4 times as heavy, right? Roughly the same size, but this is 5 amp hour. This is a 6 amp hour. You pay a lot more. You get more power, you pay a lot more. You get less weight, you pay a lot more. Kind of how it works. Last point on this one, and this is very important. If you've got the money to throw, use something with an internal battery pack. You can use an external LiFePO as a main pack in the field and as an internal as a backup. It's nice to have the backup, right? What's the question? Made it. Carrie's here. Hey, Carrie. Whitewater tuber. You would generally be quad band antenna, pickup dual band antenna. It's just to use those. Yeah, Whitewater. It's often. I might be able to. I may put that in my Amazon affiliate page just so people can see it. But there are quad band VHF, UHF 6 meter, 10 meter antennas that you can get. They're kind of not good at any one thing. And to be honest, the population on 6 meter FM and 10 meter FM is really, really quiet. There's not a lot of people on it. So there's no reason why you can't have a quad band radio that has just a 2-band antenna, 2 meter and 70 centimeter. RCAG99 asks, for a CW noob, which do you think is easier to learn, use, paddle or straight key? It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. I think some people would say straight key is probably more friendly because you're going to naturally kind of go a little slower on a straight key. If you want to go fast, you got to go to like an ambic or a paddle key. which is just kind of, or, you know, something specifically for that. There's not to say that there aren't some people that can just rock a straight key. There's a group you can join online. I think it's a Society of Straight Key or something like that. And they do nets, you know, monthly, weekly nets where they just work straight key CW. Straight key is great because good thing about straight key is you can go to swap meet. You know, got this one at the ham radio swap meet, the W6TRW. There's a guy actually. When I go to the swap meets, I look specifically for keys, and there was probably about 40 keys that were being sold. Most of them are all straight keys. The expensive ones are the iambics and the bugs, but you can get yourself a straight key relatively cheap. I think I might have paid $15 for that one, minus the base plate, and then I made the wire. That's a Speed X key, old key. Not old, but old. Corey, the nomadic maintenance guy. I want to say something really quick. Hold on. So I've got a Retevis RT82 review coming up. This is a DMR VHF UHF radio, HT radio. There's not a lot of companies that make VHF UHF DMR radios, so this is a pretty good one. It's good. It's very robust. Gotta say though, if you have a hard time programming your Baofeng, holy crap! DMR is much harder than programming a Baofeng. Wow. Did not expect the hurdles you have to jump through to do DMR. Jason Johnston. Can you do packet? Sure. QRP packet? Probably. I mean, you could run if there's a... I've never done it off of my laptop, but you probably can. It's all about tones, right? Carrie asks, how is your CW training coming along? It's good. I use a, in fact, I'll show you right now. I use an app on my phone. I mentioned, a lot of people have this problem, I myself included. I'm much better at transmitting than receiving. Copying code is usually harder for most people. So I use this, oh, wow, there you go. Use this app called Ham Morse. It's on the iPhone. And it will do the Koch method. Oh, did I just mess up my green screen? It'll do the Koch method of CW, and it'll basically add letters, and you just keep going at the same kind of high word per minute speed. So I know all the letters. I think I know all the letters, maybe aside from one or two, and all the numbers. I need my punctuation, and I just need to keep doing repetition. So that's all I'm doing. Yeah. Okay, so sample of low-power portable transceivers. Here's a whole list of commercial, off-the-shelf radios you can buy. Now, this has been updated to the KX2. It does not include, obviously, the Zygu, or the Zigu, or the Zaiju. I think somebody called him Zaiju once. I should probably ask my Chinese wife and her Chinese family how you pronounce Zygu. Elecraft shows up all over the place here. Why? Because they're really, really good. They're really, really good radios. KX1 at 4 watts is the lowest. KX3 can go up to 15 watts, I understand, with a flash, or maybe it just comes standard now from the factory. Keyer tuner. See, it says Keyer tuner. They're all built-in keyers. They're all built-in tuners. Most of them have built-in power. Awesome. Way to go. The KX2, KX3, though, you're all talking over $1,000. KX2, I think, is $1,200, and KX3 is $1,400. They're expensive. No joke. Transmit in DC current. Yeah. Weight. 24 ounces. KX3 is the heaviest. Yaesu 817. 41 ounces on that bad boy. Heavy. It is a heavy radio. It's been around for a long time. Mostly analog parts, right? It's not a software-defined radio. A little bit heavier. Mountain Topper is an honorable mention. 7 pounds. It's probably the lightest one here. It's just CW. LD5's on there. They now have an LD11. I don't recommend it. I think you should get an LNR if you want to do something like that. Hendrix QRP kits. I don't know anything about the Hendrix QRP kits. It sounds like it's CW only. There's so many cool kits that you can get if you're going to build kits. I would recommend doing a Google search on best QRP kits if you're so inclined. I think I'm going to get an 80 meter QRP kit here that has the toroids built into the board and has a keyer, a straight key built into the board. Super cool. All right, this is the developer of these slides. This is his setup. This is his KX2 10 watt CW station. This guy's obviously right-handed. He's right-hand key and right-hand writing. Bonk. I just bonked the other camera. I trained myself to key with my right hand, and I'm left-handed right, so I can write while I key. This is a clipboard. He just has a simple log on the right-hand side. A nice, it's probably a bencher or something like that, iambic paddle, does he say? 8-hour operating on internal battery with the KX2. It's very good. Remember, that means you're transmitting maybe 5, 10, 15% of the time. The rest of the time is just receiving, so keep that in mind. You're not talking 8 hours of just transmitting. Okay. So I am not an RF specialist. I'm going to do my best with the antenna portion of these slides, but there's a lot of stuff here, so hang on to your butts. Because really, your antenna, when it comes to QRP, is going to be like one of the most important things. You really do need to have a good antenna, so keep that in mind. One of the most popular antennas is a dipole, which is simply your feed line, and then you have 2 leads that go off one side, your driven angle and your counterpoise. It's one of the cheapest antennas you can build. There's lots of YouTube videos on making your own dipole. There's lots of QRP commercial dipoles available. Yeah. Adding a wire or other radiating element increases the radiation in some direction. So, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the actual details. Okay, here's a dipole. So that little box, blue box, is a 1-to-1 balun. Balun stands for balanced, unbalanced. So you've got a balanced line. Coax, or is unbalanced, right? Unbalanced? Yeah. And then you've got your 2 balanced lines, which is the quarter wave lines coming out of it. Now, below that, those 2 circles, that is an antenna map, or no, what do they call that? Antenna report? Anyway, it's a visualization of the effectivity of the antenna and what it does, how it will propagate your RF. The first one is looking down onto the top of the antenna. See how it's got the red, kind of like ovally looking thing with the 2 dimples on the side? That's the radiating space of the dipole. Okay. The other one, notice how it starts at the halfway point of the circle and goes straight up. That's your elevation, your vertical takeoff. That's how the RF goes out and away from the antenna itself. So in this example, dipole, there you go. It's a dipole radiation pattern. Derp, derp. On 40 meters, dipole is 35 feet off of the ground. There's a -6 dB gain added by ground reflections, meaning we live on Earth. The Earth has ground. There's going to be issues with the ground's reactivity towards your antenna. Not reactivity, but grounding your RF. That's just the pattern then that comes out of having an antenna on the ground. Last bullet point is important. High angle radiation favors local contacts. So looking at that circle, right? You got this circle. If you just look at it, think of it like a half circle, and the bottom half is the ground. If you're radiating like a full half circle, that means that your RF is going out at all kinds of angles, right? If your RF comes out at a very low angle, it's going to fly for a very long time across the atmosphere until it hits, or not, across our inner atmosphere until it hits L1 or L2 atmosphere, and then it's going to bend. And that's what allows you to do cross-country communications with HF, because you're literally bending around the atmosphere. Well, QRP is not great at that because you don't have a lot of power. You got 5 watts. What is it good at? It's good for doing local contacts, because with a dipole, you're going to shoot almost straight up. RKeg said it in the chat. NVIS, that stands for near vertical, right? So you're just firing your RF straight up, and it's reflecting and coming back down. So you get really good local contacts. NVIS is great for emergency comms. It's very reliable. And dipole is the best basic antenna for HF QRP operation. That is true. Garden hose pointed straight up. That's a good way of looking at it. It is very true that the dipole is probably one of the best. What else is good? Loops are good, magnetic loops, but that's not basic. Loops! I don't remember how the slides go in order. A loop is a circular piece of metal or something that will resonate RF, and there's a feed point. It could be a balun. It's usually 2 to 1 or 4 to 1. Full wave circumference is best, meaning full wave distance, right? Circumference. Excuse me. 2 to 1 balun at the feed point. Pattern basically the same as a dipole at the same average height, 1.5 dB more gain. Picks up less noise since they have no open ends. That is what's important about a loop, is that they're much less noisy, which can be very good for depending on what bands you want to operate on. Mike mentioned in the chat that novices and techs do have single sideband phone privileges on 10 meter. There you go. So I'm not saying there aren't 10 meter repeaters, because there are. I just, you don't see a lot of them. And okay, so I just said something that without explanation isn't going to make a lot of sense. People do single sideband 10 meter, obviously. You can do single sideband, but the radios that we were talking about earlier, the mobile radios, do not do single sideband. They're FM. So that means you're limited to repeater work. Okay. Quarter wave vertical. Vertical antennas are noisy. They're also very easy to throw into a tree, right? So depending on, this one specifically is talking about a balun feed from coax with a vertical, quarter wave length vertical, and then quarter wave counterpoise, meaning in the dirt, on the ground, wire on the dirt. That's the counterpoise side. That is good, but it has some drawbacks. Let's talk about those drawbacks. So again, radiation pattern there. The leftmost radiation pattern is just a big circle, right? Because it's radiating in all directions. It's an omnidirectional. Remember, the dipole was kind of like ovalish. Not so with the vertical. What's the downside? Well, look at the vertical elevation. There's a big null zone right over the front, right over the vertical of the feed, or the vertical antenna, the quarter wave vertical. So meaning it can't do in NVIS. You can't work NVIS really with verticals. That's not to say you can't do some local, but not nearly as good as a dipole. Mike Ash should have mentioned, oh, you already got that. Sorry. Then there are variations of that, elevated verticals, no radial verticals, which you see now it's got a flowery, petally lobes. It's still not good at NVIS. NVIS is good for QRP. Your mileage will vary. Okay? So what are we saying here? So this goes back to the radiation angle in degrees. So degrees from 0, right? 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It tells you your single hop distance, F1 layer and F2 layer, and then what your antenna gain is going to be. That's something for a whole nother video. I don't want to go into that completely. Antenna summary. A low dipole is the best antenna for local contacts because it's near vertical. QRP levels will make more local contacts, inverted V, end-fed half wave. At QRP levels, you will make more contacts. Inverted feed, inverted V will act like a vertical. No, it should act like, and why is he saying a okay, true, dipole. End-fed half wave. Oh, okay. That's, an end-fed half wave is a vertical though. I don't know why it's a sub-bullet. Doesn't matter. The next best antenna is a loop. Horizontal polarization. Good for noise. Very low noise. Small loops work well. That is a, well, there you go. W4OP 48-inch loop made by LNR. So LNR, regardless of the LD5 not being a great radio, they make really good antennas. And the Mountain Topper is, there's all kinds of antennas that they make specifically for the Mountain Topper and other of their CW radios that are just dynamite. In this case, the LNR is more efficient on 40 meters than the common 36-inch loops. There you go. Verticals are poor for local QSOs. We covered that. Mike says they can't operate FM mode or repeaters on 10 meters. Oh, there you go. Regardless, the those radios only do FM. So if you're a technician and you're thinking about getting a 10-meter FM radio or 6-meter FM radio, no, 6 meters fine, 10-meter FM radio, you're already kind of out of the window. So keep that in mind. Okay, more antenna stuff. QRP power is really important to have a very low loss between your antenna and the transmitter, meaning anytime you have coax, right? Coax is losing, it's losing RF, losing energy. The connectors you choose, some connectors are more lossy, which is funny because we use BNC connectors most often, and BNC connectors are notoriously bad. Well, not notoriously bad. They're more lossy than other connectors. I think I hear people in 3747. That doesn't bother anybody. I'm just going to leave it like that in case I... Yeah, there's people talking. I don't know if they're talking to me. Well, in the chat, if you want to talk to me or try to hop on, send me a message. Send me a chat. Antenna tuners do not reduce these VSWR losses. They just match the impedance. Yes. Okay, so we got to talk about that for a second. QRP radio... You're going to experiment a lot. You're going to learn about what works and what doesn't work because you're going to try and get away with doing things in a less effective manner, or you're going to use compromised antennas that really aren't putting that power that your radio is putting out. You may run it through a tuner, and you may get your SWR levels down, which is helping your radio from not overheating or hurting your radio. But you're not actually radiating all that. You're not sending all that power into the antenna. Some of it's being lost, particularly if your antenna is not a good match for your radio and the frequency you're operating on. So tuners are important, but don't let a tuner make you think that you have a well-matched antenna to the frequency that you're transmitting on. Multi-band antennas using ladder line is fine, but you need a tuner. Going back to the same problem. Not good in the field. Balance prevent unwanted feed line radiation that can distort your antenna. Yeah. This is just talking about frequencies and the SWR and the differences of coax. This is a nice little table. VG58, VG8X, VG213. All right. Okay. QRP operating. So now you got your transmitter, you've got your antenna. What are you going to do with it? Well, most popular mode is CW due to its signal-to-noise advantage. A single sideband signal needs to be at least 16 dB stronger to be readable. Remember I mentioned this before that CW is low bandwidth. You can hear it way down in the noise. You don't have to have a really great signal, and you can still be picked out. Not true with single sideband. Single sideband just doesn't have the same oomph that CW does over distance. So single sideband is popular for HF pack and SOTA activations. It is. And there is a YouTuber who does really funny videos. He's called Soda Goat. Actually, no, he's WGOAT. WGOAT, I believe. Anyway, if you look up Soda Goat, he'll come up on YouTube. Very, very cool videos. He takes goats, pack goats with him, and he makes the goats carry some of this gear. There are informal QRP frequencies on all the ham bands. Many OP monitor these, so call CQ even if you hear no activity. I've listed these in the appendix. You can look up band plans if you want for that. Best bands are 20 and 40. We already mentioned that. These are the best balance of signal strength and noise. Exactly. If you call CQ, do not sign QRP. Do not do it. I've heard that from day one ever hearing about QRP. If you call CQ, meaning I'm looking to talk to somebody, do not follow on with QRP because people won't come back. There are some people who legitimately do not like QRP. For that video I made, like why people hate Chinese radios, I should almost do a video like why people hate QRP, because people hate QRP. Like they're really jerks about QRP radios. Yeah. Call anyone you hear CQing just like you do with 100 watt station. If you hear them say S5, you will be S5, which is, or S7, you will be S5, which is a good copy. If there are any questions about S power, go ahead and post in the chat, but you're talking about signal strength, S. Here we go. He makes a much better slide than I do talking, so we'll just cover his. CW versus single sideband. I'll just read it because it's pretty good. I don't want to try and paraphrase. Let's say you have a modest QRP radio that has bandwidth down to 250 hertz. We will use that for CW bandwidth. Single sideband requires 2500 hertz bandwidth for decent audio quality. The biggest difference is noise. A single sideband signal requires 10 times more the bandwidth, right? We covered that when I drew out little bandwidth, wide bandwidth, super wide for FM. Single sideband somewhere in the middle. That's translated to 10 dB. The second difference is required signal in SNR. CW can copy right down to the noise level. It just mentioned that. CW requires about 6 dB SNR for good intelligibility, right? That means CW has a 6 dB advantage over single sideband. 5 watt CW is roughly equivalent to 200 watt single sideband. Did you get that? Did you get that? That's important. That should be a takeaway box. It should be like a colored box at the bottom. So what he's saying is if you're good on CW on 5 watts, you will be as good a copy to someone that's trying to do a single sideband conversation on 200 watts. That's big. If you get your CW chops up, you're as good at 5 watts as a lot of people are at 200 watts on single sideband. That's awesome. If you're willing to accept a bit less voicey fidelity, that numbers can be reduced to 13 dB, but that still requires 100 watts for single sideband contesting or DXing. Zach from SD, what's up from San Diego? I like I like how he breaks operator types up. So there's multiple operator types of QRP. There's classic. They use homemade transceivers and simple wire antennas, and that's like classic. Like that's going back. I would say I build antennas, so neoclassical, yeah, that would be me. Uses a commercial transceiver and simple wire antennas. Mainly use commercial. I have a couple kits, but they're not as good. Competitive uses a commercial transceiver with a big Yagi up 75 feet. Those are people who are competing in QRP, so they're using very nice transceivers, and they've got an amazing antenna that's way 75 feet up, and they can point it wherever they want to talk to, and bam. And then the masochist operates QRP on 160 meters because the noise will kill you. QRP contests are designed to be fun, and it's true. They're less serious than traditional HF contests, meaning sometimes the QSO requirements are a little bit less. What you're trying to track is a little bit less. It's more about the fun. Taz G, good morning from Dubai. What's up, buddy? Taz G, please enlighten me. How is ham radio in Dubai? Do you get licensed? Do you have power restrictions? Do you have band restrictions? I would love to hear about that. I have never talked to somebody from Dubai, particularly someone from Dubai who is interested in ham radio. So please enlighten all of us in the chat. QRP contests are fun. They require lengthy conversations. Scoring based on power, homemade versus commercial rigs, weight, etc. Okay. I, too, recommend all of the reference books in his reference list. And in fact, I will add them to to my Amazon affiliate store. The best QRP book available today is the ARRL Low Power Communication by Richard Arlen, 4th edition. The ARRL has other books as intended QRP projects. So the between the ARRL Low Power Communication, very good. I also really like the ARRL Antenna book, 23rd edition. You should have that regardless of whether you're doing QRP or not. It's really good. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. Okay. If you're interested, you may want to screenshot this, guys. Go ahead and screenshot this right now. These are operating frequencies in the US, depending on what band you're in for CW and single sideband. Just out of curiosity, why don't we jump over to 80 meters at 3.56? What is so 356 and 3710 for novice? Anyway, let's go to 356. Hold on, let's cut back over here. Well, I'm just doing this the longest way possible. Okay, we're in CW now. I'm gonna let it sit. You'll be able to hear it in the background. I'm gonna switch back. Maybe we'll get some QRP CW really quickly. Whoops, wrong one. Okay, QRP vendors. That's not very important. Okay, I think they're on their last one. Yeah. So, I want to take a moment really quick. Thank you to the patrons for helping make a lot of this happen. Carrie's in the chat. I didn't see Michael. And then we had the Brew Crew. And then we've got our thank you patrons that send me $1 for if I help them with their radio or gave them a good piece of advice. All are appreciated. Thank you so much. It's if you're interested, the Patreon link is in the description. With that said, why don't we kick it over to a Q&A? I actually got through that faster than I thought I would. I don't know if you guys do a lot of PowerPoint in your businesses and your work life and all that. I do. And I speed through PowerPoint. I speed through PowerPoint way too fast. I need to slow down. I don't know what it is. I talk fast, but I try and keep the balance of talking fast but still trying to convey the right message. Thank you to the Brew Crew. Moving on to round 2 here. What do we got? Stone Exalted IPA. Oh, that is just not going to come through. There you go. I don't even know why I held that up against a green screen. It's a 7% IPA. I haven't had this, so. Oh, jeez. I love lasers. What? This is a IPA? This is really light. Oh, I'm going to put that in the review. I Love Lasers asks, best antenna options for someone with a metal roof to get on 160 and the higher ones like 17, 15, and 12. You know, I can't really make a recommendation. The best I don't think my antenna even goes to 160. It's just not long enough. Honestly, oh boy. How do most people do 160? Do they use a vertical? I'm guessing that they'd have to use a vertical. You know what? Why don't we, I'll switch back over to the web here and see if we can, let's do a Google. So we want a 160 meter vertical. What's that gonna look like? See, MFJ have one? We'll go to DX Engineering if they don't. The Thunderbolt series. Holy crap. Yeah, that's I don't know if you see that. It looks like a hex beam. That thing's $1,000. Inverted L for 160? Yeah. Oop. There you go. K-Rag, inverted L. You can build that on your own too. The problem with, so you're gonna need a quarter wave of 160 meters, right? So you're gonna need a really long. Okay, we want inverted. Let's do 160 meter inverted L. Yeah, exactly. I love lasers. You got it exactly. Are you in the UK? Out of curiosity, people who do G5RV. Very popular in the UK, but I guess metal roofs are not popular in the UK, so probably not. Yeah. Here you go. Got a tree? Come on, bud. Jeez, just show me the picture. Oh my god. Oh my god. There we go. Yeah, so you need 50 feet vertical, 75 feet across to another tree that's 35 feet off the ground. No problem. No problem. Whitewater Tuber, thank you very much for the compliment. I try to keep it interesting. A lot of that could be my babbling, but yeah, so 160 man is a tough go. Yeah, vertical polarized is going to be like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you could. RCAG, you can do anything you want, man. When you put your own antenna up, you can do whatever you want. That's the fun thing about building antennas. The problem is that 160 presents some real problems. You got it already. It's vertically polarized. Not good. You don't want, I mean, and a 160 dipole's like crazy. Crazy. Alex M, what's up to you, buddy? Yeah, sure. It might be huge, but mag loop's horizontally polarized. It's going to be huge. Is this a oh my god. That's too much going on there. There's no ooh, see? What? How did oh my god, I have to view this. This is amazing. Where is this guy? Where is it? Show me a loop. Oh, that was sorry. If I blew you out, I'm sorry. Look at this guy. Look at this loop antenna. So many passes he makes. That is impressive. 15 meter of 1.5 wire resonates at a fixed frequency, so no expensive capacitors needed. Holy smokes, dude. Holy smokes. Okay, let's go. Let's get off of images here. No, I want to see. Let's see if we can just find a commercially available 160 loop. Okay, let me go back. DX Engineering to the rescue again? What is this? DX Engineering, active magnetic loop antenna. Preamp. Oh yeah, you're talking. I mean, does it go up to? Yeah, Whitewater tuber nailed it. That guy, the Finnish dude, with the coils of wire for his loop antenna, looks like he could still alcohol in it. Absolutely. Well, you know, there's a PDF right here. It says working 160 from a small lot, and then you got a metal roof, which is going to be a problem. But what the hell? Let's take a look at this really quick. I'll adjust the. Okay, can we just make this smaller? There we go. This is, yeah, okay, inverted L. Simple T. How about a Mr. T? Do they have a Mr. T vertical? I'll put the fool with that noise. Loading coil, yeah, loading. You're going to probably have a loading coil if you're going to do something like that. See, this starts getting a little jankopotamous when you start seeing stuff like this, right? I got to ask, now that we've covered a lot of 160 meter talk, most people are not doing 160 fresh out the gate with HF. So what's going on? What do you do 160 and higher you ask for? I gotta know what is the what's the desirement there? Let me know in the chat. I'm very curious about that. Let me go back on the. We spent a lot of time talking about 160, so let me go back. Let me go back to my Radia. Yeah, I love lasers. You said your buddy's gonna donate a butternut. I'd rock the butternut. G5RV won't work, but I think we already mentioned G5RV won't work, so why not just rock the butternut? And it also would depend on what radio. Also totally depends on which radio, how well it's gonna work with it. Oof, large in charge, may have to find some cheap copper tubing. I just sort of want to use all of my radio. Yeah, sure, but the reality is like when nighttime comes around, everybody's gonna go on 80 anyway, or 40. That's where everybody's at. And that's not me saying you shouldn't go 160. You should absolutely do that if you're interested in. I'm just saying is the butternut doesn't do 160? Is that why you mention it? Well, nobody's on the QRP CW. At least that I can hear around. Did I mention I got FT-8 working on this? Awesome. Very excited about the FT-8. We will be making a video in the future on that for sure. Oh! No. Kind of a weird night for 80. Let's look at the band conditions, shall we? Here's a very important website. Bandconditions.com. Oh, where's my web? There's my web. So 40's good, 80's great, 160's great. Everything else is in the dirt. It's kind of how it works, right? On the evening time. My son and I are taking the technician test tomorrow, Temecula, California. He's 9. Awesome. Aaron, great. It's Aaron, right? I hope it's Aaron. If it's not, please correct me. Let's see. Oh, somebody says to drop down to... I don't know that I can get the end New Jersey guys, but let us try. Ooh, the noise. Nope. I did hear some voices on the way, though. Oh, because I'm in upper sideband. There's people. That's an S4. That's a tough run from where I'm at in California. Single sideband, right? What do we say, guys? What did we learn today? I don't know if my microphone is picking it up, but there are people there. I can hear the voices. I'm not able to pick them up. What do we got? More comments. Hi, Hashman. I'm joining the live from Abuja, Nigeria. Awesome. I asked somebody from Dubai earlier to let me know what the ham radio laws are like in their country, and I don't think I got an answer. Could you tell me how ham radio laws are in Nigeria? You have to get permitted, access to all the bands, you have power restrictions. I'd love to know more information. That'd be awesome. Ice bomb. I wouldn't think so, most repeaters. So long as you can hit those, you're good. Also, can I post some ham radio Discord links? I love lasers. You gotta send them to, so do me a favor. If you guys want to contact me, like send me anything, recommend I do anything, I'll take it. I'm happy to take it. I talk to everybody I can and hit all my comments. But if you want to send me links, the best thing to do is send it to me via my Facebook page, Hasnashi, or join the Ham Radio Crash Course. Do both. Like my page and join the Ham Radio Crash Course. And then you can post links to your heart's content. The links aren't going to show up on the way YouTube does the stream. There's no way around that. So, no big deal. Discord is like an internet chat app that a lot of people use for gaming, but there are people who do it, who do ham radio stuff on Discord, which can be cool. So while we're not hearing the New Jersey guys on 1.930 on Discord, there may be somebody that's like simulcasting it. You get the idea. Now let's talk about this briefly. So they're in New Jersey, right? It is entirely possible that if I had a Beme antenna with the right vertical altitude, I could pick this up. I don't. I have a G5 RV antenna. In fact, it's a smaller version of a G5 RV. It has traps so that I can take up a smaller place, smaller linear feet-wise. And it's in an inverted V pattern, which is not the preferred way necessarily. So it's vertically, well, it's vertically polarized no matter what you do, because it's a G5 RV. Well, I thought we were going to go longer, but I blew through those slides way faster than I should have. And I'm still fighting the Logitech webcam. I want the radio to be in focus, not all this crap in the background. It really bothers me when it does that. Elias, no problem, man. Oh, from Malaysia, 7-3, sir, or ma'am. I don't want to assume. Not sure of the name. I had some Malaysian curry over the last weekend for Chinese New Year. It was the bomb. Malaysian curry with coconut rice. Oh, so good, so good. Some of the best curry I've had in a long time. I ate a lot of curry too, so I would know. Just a small little tweak. My whole camera just came alive. I look so much better now. Hello from Tennessee. What's up? Kindle Fire. Howdy from Memphis. Right on. Oh, that's Carrie. You got Kindle Fire in Tennessee. I'm gonna work my way down here a little bit. That's a lot of crap. We've been talking about Jackson ever since the fire ran out. It's a lot of noise, and I'm overcompensating and thinking it's voices, and it's not. There's a voice. So, case in point, we're trying to receive... Oh! RCAG. You missed it, buddy. I opened up the first part of the show talking about that. Not a myth. It is happening. In fact, Bladow. Gigaparts is already selling it. Available in March 2018. I think the consensus from a lot of people here is it's not worth the money. That's like a $200 markup, and the only thing that they've added was 1 watt of power, getting you to the 2-watt AM carrier. You get improved frequency stability, built-in TCX09, and a slightly larger battery. Oh, I'm almost off-tuning them, and I'm hearing them better. Oh. They're coming in okay. It's going to get noisy here, guys. I apologize. Hopefully we can pick it up. You're not going to be able to pick this up on the mic, but there are intelligible voices there that I could actually pull up. No way that I would be able to hit them, though. Obviously, I would need some serious power. I'm going to go back to 80 and come back down. I'm going to also drop the volume because we don't need that much volume. Okay, we're going to leave it at that for a little while. Okay. Continuing with the questionings. Steven asks, Hoshman, I've got a BF F8 HP UV5R and BF 888S, and the experience is awesome. Unfortunately, the ham radio world here is really clumsy. I'm working on getting and understanding the laws. Yeah. Steven, you are the guy from Nigeria, yes? I'll be honest with you, man. I've heard stories where in some countries it could be like a pretty serious crime if you get caught with a radio. In fact, I was talking to somebody I follow on Instagram. He's in Madagascar for a year doing some relief work, and he just left all his radios at home because he was worried about the legality of it. So, I hear you. It can be difficult because, on one hand, like, you kind of need an antenna to put on the roof, but if you have an antenna, people are going to see the antenna and they're going to say, What's that guy up to? So yeah, the new Yaesu 818, if it gets you a 817 for cheaper because it's used, hot damn. Let me go back to, because that's really what it should be about. If you can get a used 817s are awesome. And they come up on the market from time to time. You should get one if you can. So there's a, when we're talking about the ICOM 7300, it's a touch screen, right? So you touch the number you want, and then you rotate the dial so you can get to where you need to be really quickly. Let's see. Ice Bomb. Ice Bomb's been very helpful in the chat. Thank you, buddy. He's been trying to answer people. Very cool. Nice, actually. It's crazy about the laws there. Are there just more, or are they really convoluted? Yeah, so that's the thing with ham radio, man, is some countries, due to political situations, sometimes not even because of political situations, but just because people don't really understand it, they recoil in the defensive, and they want to keep it away from people. That's not, we don't really need that. We don't want that. Okay. Well, seems like the questions are tapering off, even though the views are really high. They're like the highest they've been all night. Appreciate everybody watching, I really do. Again, we'll just run through the reminder of things. We've got the swap meet tomorrow. I have never seen an 817. Why do I keep moving? And that's why the camera I keep moving the camera, and then I move subconsciously. Oh, Steven's back. But I know it's not easy and cheap as in the US. One thing I know is many security outlets use here without proper procedure. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you are carrying the 3 radios that are most active in people not following the law. And when it comes to businesses, even in the United States, people just use the radios, and they just don't care. They have no problem rocking those. He mentioned the UV888S. I'm sorry, the BF 888S. That's supposed to be like a FRS GMRS radio, but it's like you can program it to do whatever you want. It's supposed to be a commercial radio because it doesn't have a keypad. Leech JC, I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, you're coming out. Okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. I will be dressed as me, so just come up and say hi, because I don't know what you look like. So just come up, man. I'll be there with Edison. Like I said, probably drinking a coffee, chilling. I will be walking around, though, because I usually get there. As soon as I get there, I start scoping, man. I scope deals. I hit it hard, but you're welcome to tag along. We'll stay as long as we need to. Actually, no, I've got a 2 o'clock appointment somewhere, but I will hang out. Or until Edison loses it and we have to go. So I'm glad you're coming out. So that, yeah, the BF 888S, the problem is a lot of people will use them thinking that they're commercially sound radios, and they're really not. Okay, Steven said no FRS or GMS bands allocated here. So you got multiple problems. Let me walk you through our problem in the States, and then it may have some splashings of what you have there. In the States, FRS and GMRS is a license, and then there's ham radio, which is the amateur radio, right? That's nobody gets charged for that. There's a license, but nobody pays really. And then everything else is commercial radio. All the other frequency spaces, which include UHF and VHF, is commercial. And you actually have to take out a business permit, business license to use certain radios on those frequencies. Now, Baofeng makes commercial radios. The BF 888S, for example, is a commercial radio. You can, in the States, get a license, commercial license, and you can set those up to operate on those frequencies. So, anyway, United States is a minefield in its own way, but it sounds like Nigeria has its own very difficult problems. I'm sorry about that. I would like to hear more, though. So if you have Facebook or you're willing, go join the ham radio crash course. Send me a message on Hashnasi, and I'd like to ask you some more questions. I'm curious about some of the realities on the ground there. Michael Perry, I bought an RTL SDR, which is a receive software-defined radio dongle, to hear what's going on around here in Squamish, British Columbia, Canada. Hope I said that name right. Right on, Michael. So the what I always tell people, and I should probably do this for, I probably should do this in a crash course. I should probably devote a video just to the RTL SDR, because the trouble is the software. The RTL SDR is just a dongle that puts out RF. What you use, what apps you use, is what determines the functionality for what you're trying to do. You can use it as a scanner. There's actually a piece of software that you can get to run plane tracking. So I live in the flight path for the Los Angeles International Airport. I could put a RTL SDR into a Raspberry Pi in a little weather box, put it on my roof with a little solar panel, and I could just let that thing receive RF, airplane RF traffic, and then have that uploaded to the internet. I could be like a digital flight traffic receiver propagator thing. You can do that with the RTL SDR. They're cool. They're great for lots of things, not just listening to ham radio stations. They're good for FM, AM, shortwave. Get the right antenna into it. Get an up converter, down converter, whatever you need. Works good though for scanning. Dan, not even ham radio. I am in the film business and shot in the Middle East, and we couldn't say we had anything that transmitted. Yeah. I have wireless lens control and wireless video transmitters. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. Carter Vlogs asks, what's a good starter HF radio? This should be its own standalone video. In fact, I'm going to start taking some notes here. So here's my brand new field notes journal. And I'm loving this little telescopic space pen. But I'm going to start taking some notes. So we want intro HF rig. We want RTL SDR video. Okay, so your first HF rig is a difficult answer, because it depends on if you're just talking straight up, I'm going to throw some cash on the ground and I'm going big money baller, get an ICOM 7300. That's technically a starter radio. It's $1,400 with a $200 mail-in rebate. $1,200 radio. No power supply. Got to get your own power supply. No antenna. Got to do that. But it's got an ATU that's good. Antenna tuner. Otherwise, a used rig. If you're thinking about getting into HF and you want a 50-watt, 100-watt radio, getting a used radio is great. I can't specifically recommend a used radio. Yeah. I do want, what is it? A 4550 Yaesu. I will tell you what I almost bought. Is it a 450D? Because I was thinking, yeah. So this is a cool radio. I will recommend this one. And there's a lot of videos. Ham Radio Concepts, I believe, uses this radio. Very popular on YouTube. I also like the screen. I've got a big, so I'll tell you, personally, I've got a big, like, crutch for anything that's a reverse polarized LCD screen. I love them. I like the way they look a lot. I think that radio looks like, it's ham sexy, as we call it. Mad ham sexy. Zach asks, Josh, do you ever buy transceivers at the swap meet to resell? So, Zach, I have lived a long life of buying and selling things, like buying things very cheap and then flipping them. I've made, if you've watched any of my vlogs, anything like that, going back a couple of years, I was doing that for funsies, like getting serious about like swapping, like just making things happen. Amazon FBA, I've sold things on there, eBay, Craigslist, you name it, I've tried it. It's a job. It's like a minimum wage job, depending on how hard you want to go at it. And to be honest, I'm having so much fun doing these streams. I've stopped. Uh-oh. We're almost done with the chat because I think the wife's coming home. I'm having so much fun with the stream, so that I haven't been buying things to resell just because it takes up so much time. So you can though. My little go baggy 7200 CW. I bought this at the swap meet. $100. $100 with 2 band modules, which is really good. Josh, yeah, got it. I like the 89.1. Is that the one that's mobile? Is that how that one? Whoop. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. 89.1. What? Is this HF? Oh, yeah. All mode HF. Right on. What's the other one that's really popular? Is it this? It's this guy. The 857D is another one that's really popular for HF, beginner HF. It's a mobile, so is the other one. No reason against that. Cool. Cool either way. I've actually not looked at the difference between the 857 and the 891, so you've given me something to go look into. Oh, haha. Zach's looking to pick up a radio. I see. No, I don't. I don't, and I'm kind of like, as much as I'm actively involved with ham radio, my wife is not that into it. So, unlike my other hobbies where she kind of like, she doesn't mind it because she sometimes goes shooting and she sometimes does other things, but she doesn't like ham radio. And I don't... And I want to be specific. She's indifferent to ham radio. It's like it could just disappear tomorrow, and she would be like, "What? Huh? What? Huh? Ham radio?" Okay, John Nickel passed my Tech Monday. Awesome. How do you program the mobile radios? It depends on who makes it. My TYT 9800 is programmable in Chirp, so I program it in Chirp, just like I would program it in the with the Baofangs. A lot of Chinese radios you can just program in Chirp. A lot of Japanese radios you can program in Chirp. It really just depends. So that's a really good question. If you're thinking about buying any one particular radio, you should probably look and see how to best program it. My wife thinks most of the things that show up in our doorstep is weird and a waste of time. So I hear where you're coming from explicitly. Okay, how we doing? I think we're gonna call it an evening here. Long stream. Hope everybody had fun. Just to recap all the fun stuff, we've got the meetup tomorrow at the W6TRW. Super excited about that. Can't wait. Testing starts at 9. I will be there around the same time. We've got the Patreon newsletter coming out. We've got the ham radio crash course, which is taken off, which is great. When you do get your license, go post on the ham radio crash course. I'd appreciate it. And if you're interested in contacting me directly, use the Facebooks. Go to Hashnasi on Facebook and send me a message. Okay? Cool. All right, well, we're going to leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. Had a lot of fun. Cool, cool, cool. Carrie, thank you. All right. I haven't seen Michael. Where was Michael? I haven't seen him in like 2 weeks. Okay. Salutations, everybody. Send me a message. See ya. Yeah, next stream will be next Friday. I haven't decided. I've got a list of ones. I'll probably post another poll in the Patreon. So Patreon gets the poll first, and if it's not a blowout, it goes to Facebook, and then Facebook decides. Oh, now here comes all the questions. Oh, good. Icebomb had a comment about the 891. The FT-891 has a much better screen, way better receiver. Doesn't have 2 meter centimeter, but it's cheaper, so that's nice. So I don't care about 2 meter 70 centimeter in an HF radio personally. I'll use my Baofangs, or I'll use my Kenwoods or my Yaesus or whatever that I already have. So I'm down with that. Steven, good talk to you, man. 5:30 in the morning. Woo, thanks for waking up early or staying up late if you were out partying. Have fun either way. And send me a message on Facebook if you want to talk. I'm curious how the laws work. Okay, cool. Take it easy, guys. 7 threes to everybody. Have a great weekend. And for some of you, I'll see you tomorrow.